Mm, that's super encouraging. So thank you, Dr. Moreland. So another question I have for you then is this idea of you talk about in the book of like hearing God's voice outside the Bible, like especially as like evangelicals, we like to think of the idea of like we hear God, we learn about God like through the scriptures and through the word. Like what are some ways, and obviously like I'm sure we all hold like to the reverence and authority of scriptures, but like how can we hear God's voice outside of the scriptures in a way that's like relevant to like what we're talking about today?
Yeah, well, of course, in my view, the Bible is the ultimate authority. It is my ultimate standard. So if I think God's speaking to me about becoming the best male prostitute I can be, that's not God. Okay. So if anything contradicts the word, it's out. But if the Bible doesn't particularly speak on it, then I follow my confidence. And over the years, you learn how to discern God's voice. And God speaks in a variety of ways. And I illustrate each one of these. He will put a thought or a feeling in your mind that has a certain texture to it. He gives dreams today still. He provides a word of knowledge to someone, and there are all kinds of ways. And I'll give you an example. I was at a conference in 1995, I think, speaking at Vanguard University, and they had a group of Asian Americans from about 30 states, about 130 or 140 of them that were there for 6 weeks of training. And the people running the conference were doing all the teaching except for that 6 week period. They had, I think, 4 or 5 outside speakers come in and speak for a couple of days. So I was there and I spoke on apologetics for Thursday morning, Thursday night, Friday morning, and then Friday night and Saturday morning. But Friday night I went and they were having worship. So I sat in the back and I said, Lord, is there anything that you would like me to say? And the thought came very clear to me. And it came like it was coming from outside of me through. He says, there is a young man here named Mike. Before he came, he was in a confrontation with his pastor, and he has blamed himself all summer for what happened, but it was not his fault. It was his pastor's fault. And he needs to confront his pastor about what he said and did in that meeting. And there are other people, there are some of my children here who are being demonized at night, and they can't sleep because they're feeling darkness and it's dragging them down. And I want you to deliver them from demons. Now, I was about 70-30. It was God. Now, Zach, remember, when I interpret a biblical text and teach it, very seldom am I 100% sure that my interpretation is right, because often there are many different interpretations. And I will preach a passage if I'm 60-40 or higher. Even if I'm not certain, I say, well, on balance, it's more reasonable to believe. So you don't have to be 100% sure it's God's voice. If you're 70-30 or what have you, then you step out, unless it's a dramatic decision and you just ask for more confirmation. Well, that night I spoke, and when I was finished, I said, look, I sense the Lord may want me to say something. Notice I didn't say the Lord told me. I said, I believe the Lord wants me to say something. There's a young man here named Mike, and I told the story. Now, I said, I want you to get into groups of 3 or 4 if you would. And so all throughout the auditorium, they did. And I said, there are some of you that have been experiencing dark, almost demonic agitation at night, and you haven't slept for a long time. I want you to all close your eyes, and I say now, in the name of Jesus and based on the authority of his blood, I command any demon in this room to leave and not come back. You've got to go in Jesus' name. Holy Spirit, come and fill the place that has been vacated. And then I left. And it was about 10:20. I looked at my watch. Well, I got there the next morning, and the head of the conference made a beeline toward the parking lot to talk to me. And I thought, oh, no, I don't know. Maybe he was upset with what I did. And he said, do you know what happened last night? And I said, I have no idea. And he said, after you left, the Holy Spirit became so thick in the room that students stayed up until 2:30 in the morning, confessing their sins to one another and weeping and crying out for God's mercy. And it was unbelievable. And he said, have you met Mike? And I say, there really is a Mike here? I
Hmm.
said, I've never met a Korean American named Mike. Are you kidding? No, he said, in fact, he was right there. He wants to talk to you. He comes up and says, Dr. Moreland, with all due respect, how did you know that? And I said, well, I was 70,
Hmm.
30. I didn't really know it. And I said, well, tell me, what do you mean? And he said, well, I'm from New Jersey. And before I came here, my girlfriend and I went to see our senior pastor. He's a very godly man. But to be honest, he said some pretty rude and some kind of demeaning things to me and my girlfriend. And we
Hmm.
left the appointment, and we both felt kind of slimed. But I said, well, it's got to be my fault because he is a man of God, and I must have done something to alienate, but I haven't been able to figure it out all summer, and it's been agitating me. Now, he said, what you don't know is that we have outside speakers besides you this summer, and my pastor is flying in today from New Jersey, and he's going to speak here tomorrow morning. And the timing could not be more perfect because now I know that while he's here, I need to have a word with him. Well, I mean, that was just incredible. And then two women came up to me who staying in different rooms and said, when you prayed that prayer last night, we felt a dark something leave us because we haven't been able to sleep precisely like you said, and we slept last night like babies, and we were delivered. So that was a word of knowledge I got, that I was 70, 30. And you can learn by experience. The more you take a risk, you just say the Lord seems to be saying,
Hmm.
and you grow. And I have in the book a simple guide to experience miracles. I have in there how to grow in discerning God's voice in these ways, and a biblical basis for it, and the whole thing.